The guidelines for a healthy diet change according to our age.
It also changes, it seems almost like according to whim. You can't trust all the information that's published in the literature because which diet is right for you? Is it the high fat, the low fat? Is it the high protein, the low protein? Is it too many carbohydrates, or is it some kind of mix? Is it food combining? What is it? But now there's a new study out that shows
that getting our protein from meat and dairy may be as bad for us as smoking.
Wow.
And this concluding that a high protein diet during middle age increases our death rate, and a moderate protein diet over 65 is actually good for us. However, we do need to pay attention to detail that studies often don't include or that they ignore.
Right. Well, a study came out of USC Medical Center, published in a journal called Cell Metabolism in March of this year, that showed that the overall rate of death was increased twice, and that the chances of dying from cancer was increased 4 times if middle-aged people were on a high-protein diet. Wow, is what I say to that.
Well, because if you take this all apart, like for example, dairy and meat contain a lot of pesticides if they're not organic and
about
if they're not grass-fed.
80% of your pesticide load, which is a huge amount. So is it related to that?
Is it related to how the animals are treated, to how they're killed, to what they eat?
All right. Well, these people at USC felt it was related to a hormone called insulin-like growth factor 1, it's IGF-1.
Is that only in meat, or is that also in vegetable protein?
That's only for meat. That's a good point there. So what they found is that when IGF-1 levels went up, because protein intake went up, that what happened is the risk for cancer went up as well in middle-aged people. But in people who were older than that, there's it's an interesting story, because what happens is that we need more protein to maintain muscle mass and strength, which we lose very quickly. And so there's a cause of death that's related to the weakness, the hip fractures, the falls, the kinds of things that just go with not being strong.
Well, so I have a question. Do we and can we get, as we get older, can we get enough protein on a vegan diet, for example?
Oh, absolutely. We forget about how much protein there is in meat. Meat has about 25% protein. That's all. Most people think it's all protein. When you look at...
But I said a vegan diet.
Yes, I know, but I'm getting there.
Oh, okay.
Okay, meat has 25% protein, and vegetables, probably, if you're looking at legumes and things of that sort, they may have 13 to 15% protein. Then you look at regular vegetables, and they may have between 5 and 10% protein. So you get plenty of protein, because how much protein do you actually need? They called a high-protein diet one that had 20%. So if you ate all meat, that'd be 25%, right? A medium diet was 10 to 19%, and a low diet was less than 10%. So you'd have to eat very poorly to not be able to have a diet that had at least a moderate amount of protein.
So if a person chooses not to eat meat, do they need to take any supplements?
Well, yes, B12 for sure, because you don't get B12 from diets that don't have meat in it very often, unless you're eating brewer's yeast. Zinc is another one, that's right. But, you know, what this is really about from my point of view is that a moderate diet, a diet that is got a little of everything in a balanced sort of way, for me, is what I recommend as a doctor. Now, if you have preferences, such as you don't think that killing animals is right, or you just don't want to eat animals, I don't have any problem with that, because you can do just as well that way. But it's kind of a special person that has those kinds of needs. So when we're looking at diets and we're trying to figure out who needs a high-protein diet, we're talking about people who are malnourished, definitely. People that are over the age of 65, better to have more protein. What if you have an illness where you're losing protein, like HIV or cancer? What if you want to lose weight by having not so many carbs in your diet? You're going to fill it with fat and protein, right?
Because that stays with you a little longer.
Right. And how about those people now who shouldn't eat a high-protein diet? Now we're talking about the middle-aged healthy people that these people at UCLA studied, people who have advanced kidney disease or people who have advanced liver disease. Those things taken together should give you an idea of what is healthy, and then it's up to you to decide what you want to do in terms of what your preferences are.